Hi, friends. Welcome to Enlightened World Network. I'm Dr. Ruth Anderson, and we're here for a focus on Lightworkers. Today, it is my pleasure to bring you Suzi Parrett. Now, I first met Suzi, Suzi, 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, it is.
It was a while ago. We were both on International Angels Network with a radio show. That was my first radio show. Suzi, you had been there for a while before I got there and stayed a while after I left. But welcome to Enlightened World Network. It's my honor to have you here. Suzi, first of all, tell us, what are you bringing to the world now? If somebody were to see you online or on a show or something, what do you do now?
To be fair, I've been on hiatus for about the last 12 months under the instruction of Archangel Michael. And obviously, when he speaks to me, Mr. Bossy, as I call him, I listen. So I've been going through a personal transition, a lot of healing, because he said for me to step forth in the world and heal others, I have to be healed myself. So, you know, he was spot on and he was right. But I've still kept on doing mentoring with people, spiritual coaching, and I love doing my psychic readings. So yeah, I've been continuing with that, but I actually haven't had a show. My last show was an Australian show, which ended like over a year ago. So as regards to having my own show, I haven't had anything because it's just I've been doing this healing process, which has been pretty intense, if I'm honest.
Right.
But all good.
Right. So you mentioned Archangel Michael. So is he the only angel you work with, or just the main one, or talk about
to be fair, I've worked with Archangel Nathaniel. He's nurtured me since I was a child to help me with my gifts naturally, because I've had no training, just through them and through the angels. So my gifts, you know, I suppose are 100% natural, but like I say, with the help of Archangel Nathaniel particularly. But I work with Jophiel. I mean, there's just so many. I mean, obviously you can say the 7 main archangels, but I've worked with others as well, and also elements. You know, I've worked with a fire dragon, and you know, I've worked with a unicorn, and you know, there's I've worked with lots of different elemental beings, including different archangels. Yeah.
You said an interesting thing, Suzi. Something about you've just been trained by the angels, and as I got further and further into my spiritual walk, they said, come to us for training. Like, we're the ones that can teach you the best about the angels, rather than going through a human to learn about us. Come directly to us. So yeah, I think I would remove the "just" from that sentence.
But Mr. Nathaniel, I was just working with Mr. Nathaniel, as in him as one archangel through the whole of my childhood. I mean, obviously there's other archangels that pop in from time to time with different things that I'm learning or I'm needing their knowledge. You know, but yes, many different archangels. They're endless beings of light. You know, I can't just say, oh, there's 100,000 archangels, because there isn't. They're just endless. The more we use, the more ascent. So they're just an endless source of light. I think the thing is with the archangels, if I'm honest with you, if you're working with them, they don't really care if you know their names or not. You know, like sometimes I'll say, who is this, please? Like, which archangel is it? They're not really fussed. As long as you're working with them, they're not that ego to really care for you to know their name, just the fact that you are working with them. So sometimes, especially, I would say growing up, I knew there was, you know, Nathaniel, especially because he especially works with young children. To develop their abilities. But like I say, I've worked with them all at one time or another. They just kept coming at relevant times when I need them, because they're all specialized in their different things, you know, like us humans are, us light workers, you know.
Right. So Suzi, talk about your childhood with the angels.
It was quite awkward. it was quite difficult because I'm one of three, and I'm the only one that has the gift in my family, which terrified, I think, all of them, including my parents. I don't think they knew how to cope with that. So at a very young age, I stopped talking about it all because it was affecting them badly, and especially my older siblings. They're actually scared, I think, and still are. They still don't get it, even though they shut their gifts down, especially my sister. So I think she did have it, but it terrified her, so she just shut it down. For me, I always kept it open, because although I knew I was always being observed, and that is the word I would use, observed, I knew they were there not to hurt me. They felt friendly, if that makes sense. I didn't, yes, I knew they were there. Yes, I knew somebody's watching me, but it never felt, like I should be afraid of that. And obviously, as I developed, I got older, and the communication started between me and them. And then I obviously realized what those beings were, which are, yes, angels. But I didn't kind of get that from very early age. I didn't all of a sudden think, oh, there's an angel. It did take time for me to build trust and understand actually what they were, because I was underdeveloped and I wasn't hearing them as I do now, because I hear them and see them as I see and hear a physical person. So, I wasn't that developed back then, but knew it wasn't anything to be scared of. I was kind of more scared of the ghosts I was seeing, than the angels.
Okay. And so you see ghosts also. Have you ever just shut that down and said, no,
no, because I put them to the light, and I've put them to the light for all the time. I've always done that. Even when I was small, I could do that. There again with Michael. But yes, I've always seen and heard spirit angels. It's always been there. So I've always led that double life, for sure. But a double life that I never disclosed until many years later. So I started doing my readings when I was about 16, and started really reading the energies, and, but it did take me a long time to understand it, because my path was very much solitude with it, because I didn't know anyone else that had what I have. So it was, quite later on that I started hanging out with people that, had similar abilities, and I started to understand it more. And also the angels, as usual, always bring in relevant literature and things for me to read at certain times when I need it. I hear that divine guidance very clearly. So that's what happens pretty much with everything. So
talk to me about Archangel Michael and your nickname, Mr. Bossy.
Yes. Because of my star sign, he is the archangel of my star sign, which is fire sign, Sagittarius. But the thing is with him, Sagittarius can be a little bit procrastinators, just like that's part of our sign, I don't really, that's why I call him bossy, because he'll just keep poking me. If there's something that he needs me to do, or I need to get done, and I'm a little bit blasé, or, tomorrow, mañana, he'll be like, no, you do it now. So I do call him Mr. Bossy, because he is, he knows when I need to get something done for all the rest of it to fall into place, that divine timing, as it were. So yeah, if he feels that I need to get a ball rolling with something, then that's it. That's it. I've got to listen. I've got to take that guidance, because if not, he'll pester the hell out of me until I do it anyway. So I'll just get on and do it like a good little Susie.
Right. So Suzi, you had mentioned your sister shutting down her skill set there. If folks are watching this and they have that anxiety about connecting in with the angels, do you have any advice for them? Any suggestions?
I think, to be honest, what I've learned in this life, and I'll be brutally honest, I think it's the living hurt you, not spirit. Through all my life of having that double you know, that double life, I've never been hurt by a spirit, never. In fact, the opposite. And that's obviously, the angels come under that umbrella as well. They're there to love me, guide me, and help me in any way I can. Because let me tell you something, as souls, we agreed to come here, but the God source, the prime creator, he said, you know what, that third dimensional world's not going to be easy. It's not. So what I'm going to do, as you've gifted me with agreeing to go and serve as a light worker down on that third dimensional plane called Earth, I'm going to send beings of the divine to help you, because it's not going to be easy. And at least they will help you in all their entirety, but you do have to ask them. You do have to say, you know, angels work with me, because they don't really have the free will. They do if you read the book of Enoch, but that's another story. But, you know, they don't necessarily have that free will. So you do have to ask the angels to work with you. And that's all you need to say. Please, angels, can you work with me from this day forward? That's it. There's no, you know, there's no rocket science to that. That's as simple as it is. But if you don't ask, you don't get. And that's what Michael said. If you don't ask, you don't get. Because with the angels, it doesn't matter if there's an issue in the world. You can send an angel team to go and help with that issue, but you've got to ask, you know. So that's the thing. You can ask an angel to do anything, to help in any way, shape or form, really.
Yeah, Suzi, can you talk about that angel team? I think it's a fascinating concept.
Well, I quickly tell you a story, if you don't mind. I'll make it as brief as I can. I was in Northern Ireland. This must be about 6 or 7 years ago now. And there was a little girl who was having a terrible time in a home that her parents had just bought. And one of my close friends knew of the family, asked me to go because I can remove spirit, you know, I can put them to the light. So we went and I did what I needed to do. And the little girl, I removed quite a few spirits actually. But what I'm getting at about the angel team was the fact that there was an entity of a mass, because entities don't really have a face, you know, they're just a black mess of negativity and horribleness. So I knew this had been brought in from the past by witchcraft. I knew all that. I had all that information. The angels would not allow me to enter that garage. They would not allow me to enter it. So they went in and all I could see was like the shape, the outlines of them. And I counted about 10. And they actually went into the garage and transmuted that for me. So I didn't have to do that in the physical. And then all I had to do is just make sure that the portal that had been in that garage was then shut in the physical, which is what I did. So with an angel team, you can ask for an angel team. I didn't have to ask that day because the angels have got your back, you see. So they'll do what's appropriate for you at that time. But the thing is, like I say, you can ask for an angel team. If there's a disaster, an earthquake in another country, call upon the angels. You don't even have to do it by name and ask an angel team to go and help that situation. And it's as simple as that. Just asking is the intention. And people must understand in anything in spirituality, intention is half the battle. Because if you're it's like a cement, you know, you're intending that to be, so therefore it will be, is what Michael's saying. So, but that angel team went in and cleared that horrible thing away. So, and that little girl has lived there ever since, happy. So it's good.
Yeah, it worked. What do you think is happening with that angel team when you're not sending them out somewhere? Are they?
But this is the thing. I think with the angels, you know, they're infinite light source. They're around you. They'll find, you know, they either go back up or they'll hang around and wait for the next time, you know, for you to call upon them. But, you know, if we were all calling on the angels at different times, those beings are already in play, so they will just go where they're needed, and that's what happens. You know, your guardian angel is with you at the time of conception. It's probably your guardian angel would have been with you many lifetimes, whatever dimension you're in. You normally, as a rule, have the same have the same guardian angel. And you can work with more than one guardian angel as well, I believe, because Michael's like my guardian angel as well. So I have Daniel and I have him, you know, he's never very far away, Michael. And Daniel is the one that, is pretty much with me all the time while they both are, because they're infinite. They can be in more than one place at one time. They're multidimensional beings. So they're not just restricted to me or you, because you work with Michael as well.
Right. So Suzi, tell me, so you went from not talking about your gifts to doing readings when you were 16 or so. How did you get to the point that you were actually going live on radio shows?
There again, I left it to them. I left it to the angels. I asked and I just wait for them to deliver. I mean, this week, as you know, I think I told you the story, as being on hiatus, I looked to the sky. I said to Michael, look, what's going on? I've done this healing. I feel like the last lesson I was meant to learn, I've finished it. That felt, that was the end of that healing episode, although that still continue. And I said to him, is this it? Am I not going to be doing a show? And then what happened? Like 5 hours later, I received, a message from Sherry for you, and I'm like, thank you, because the more you don't stress about stuff, the easier it is for things to drop in, to manifest itself. If you're like you live in that fear, or you're living in that whole kind of worry mode, things don't flow, because you actually end up blocking it. Even frustration can block it. So I don't worry about anything now, because I know they have my back. So that is a typical amazing example. 5 hours later, in fact, I don't even think it was that, and I got your email. So I just started laughing, because it's amazing. Yes. I just love them so much,
Yeah. And we are really hoping, Suzi, that you're going to be coming on to Enlightened World Network, either with shows or courses or something.
Lots to talk about, lots to share, lots of experiences for people, for sure, because they're accessible. I think this is the thing with anything with spirituality. People, they don't feel they're gifted, and they don't think they're accessible, and they are. You've just got to learn how to tune into you basically, and trust your instincts. Therefore, the guidance can then come in and you can flow, because, I always say this with spirit, they're stood right next to you. It's not like you have to do some ceremony or anything like that. They're right there, you don't have to drum them up, because if you're drumming stuff up, to me, you're drumming up the not so good. But, for some people, that's all part of the lesson as well. You have to know the dark from to know the light, type of thing. We're all here for different journeys and experiences. So, but yes, I always say that they're stood right next to you. You don't have to, it's not anything elaborate that you have to do.
Yep, exactly.
To connect.
Suzi, if somebody wants to work with you individually, first of all, how would they connect with you? And secondly, what might that be like?
I'm on Facebook under Suzi, Suzi Parrett, or angeliclight.sp@gmail.com. You can also reach out to me there. I don't have a website at the moment. I did have, but it's just, like I say, there's new stuff coming up. So I just thought I'll just let it go. But yeah, you can get through to me on Facebook under my name anyway, or Instagram, angeliclight.sp. You can find me on. Do you know what? It's very interesting you should say that about what I offer. Now, it's like if someone says to me about my spiritual readings, it's just I never know what I'm getting until I work with that person. Because the reason why I say that is my mentoring, tutoring, whatever, or my psychic readings are all very personal. They're like for you. They're tailor-made by the angels for you. So, like I say, for instance, if I'm doing a reading, I don't know what I'm getting until I'm doing it, because they will home in and because I channel my readings, they will home in and give me the information that person needs at that time, just for them. It's none of my readings are ever the same, because not every person's the same. And it's the same with mentoring. They home in exactly on what my client needs at that time. Therefore, I'm able to home in on that and work with that person, whatever that may be, you know, whether it's like getting them to know their intuition more, or whether it's just to give them confidence to move forward with what they've already got planned. You know, it just does depend, because they're tailor-made for the person. And like I say, my spiritual readings are exactly the same. So yeah, no ever reading is the same.
Yeah, no,
and I don't have to be with you to do that. I do my readings all over the world. So, you know, if I got a video link and I can, you know, we can talk, I can do, you know, I don't need to be with somebody in person to help them. And that's what I love about what I do, because they just home in, and people will be like, oh my gosh, yeah, that's right. I wanted to learn that, but I didn't think it was for me. Even just telling someone the ideas they've had, just validating them, you know, it can help. It really can help. So yes, they are tailor-made. So it's very difficult for me to specify what my mentoring session is, because they're all so different.
Yeah, perfect. Suzi, this is excellent. Thank you so much. I can't wait to talk to you about what you might be interested in doing next. But friends here at Enlightened World Network, please check out Suzi Parrett. I've known her for several years. She's the real deal, folks. She's talking with angels. She's bringing in messages that are meant specifically for you. So please check her out. We look forward to having her here with us. So with that, we'll let you all go. Take good care. And God bless. We'll see you all soon. Thanks, Suzi.